Hey everyone, welcome to the RotoGrinders Morning Grind podcast. I'm your host, Stevietpfl. It's Tuesday. It's August 20th. It is 2024. We have a 13-game MLB slate to talk about here on today's podcast. Joined today by my good buddy, Will Priester, ChiefJustice06. Chief, what's happening, my friend?
Not much, brother. Glad to come on. It's another day. This is a big slate, interesting slate. It'll be a lot to talk about, and so I'm ready to get cracking, man.
Yeah, huge slate. 13 games, a lot to talk about, a lot of pitching options, a lot of hitting options. I just posted the RotoGrinders Morning Grind contest in the YouTube chat, so you can join that and have a chance to win. Let's do swag. Let's do swag today. We've been doing premium a lot lately for 3 days. Let's do a piece of RG swag. So for all those people that have the premium, then you could play in this and have a chance to win some RotoGrinders swag. So, hey, Monday night going pretty good for me. Seager, my highest owned hitter. I built 3 teams and he was on all 3, so that's always good because he hit 3 home runs. And yeah, I mean, we'll see how it kind of shapes up. Good betting night already. It'll be a great betting night for the 3-pick parlay to hit. Need Houston to beat Boston. It's 4-3 in the top of the third in that one. So yeah, let's jump in, Will, and have some fun. 13 games. We're not gonna chit chat too much. We're just gonna jump in. What's up, YouTube? Sorry. Hi, everybody. Cleveland at New York facing the Yankees. 8.5 total in this game. We got Matthew Boyd and Luis Heel facing off against each other. Any interest here in Matthew Boyd?
Man, in a general sense, because I do feel like Matthew Boyd has always had some reasonable strikeout stuff. He's just getting back. I just don't want to do it against the Yankees, even though he's only 6,600. It's a huge slate. And I'm still going to take a wait-and-see approach with him in this type of spot. If he was facing the White Sox or Detroit he plays for Detroit or maybe, Tampa Bay, some high strikeout teams where I feel like he could really get rolling, I would probably consider it, but I don't want to do it against the Yankees in Yankee Stadium.
Yeah, really, really solid last time out, in his first start since Tommy John. I mean, he's coming back from Tommy John. Like, this is not an easy thing. Like, it's easier now than it was 5 years ago to come back from Tommy John, technology and stuff. It's huge, right? Like, it's a huge injury. It's not anything simple. So yeah, I mean, good outing first time out, which was good for him. It was against Cubs. This is a much tougher matchup going up against the Yankees, like you said, in Yankee Stadium. So, I mean, good outing. All the advanced stats look great. Didn't walk anybody, 6 strikeouts, 1 earned run, 3 hits, 80 pitches. The price is intriguing. It really is. I just don't know if I could do it, but I will tell you this, Will. Like, if this Yankees lineup comes out and I think there's any kind of upside here for Boyd, I will take shots on him. He's just too cheap. So right now, though, I don't think I play Boyd. And Luis Heel on the other side of this game. I mean, Cleveland is one of the lowest strikeout teams in all of baseball. And I mean, this guy, he doesn't know if he wants to be a good pitcher or a bad pitcher. He can't decide. Really struggled last time out against the White Sox. Just didn't miss any bats in that game. Any interest here in Heel against Cleveland?
So I don't think I'm going to play Heel. He's 9K. I just don't think it's worth the cost of admission against Cleveland on such a big slate. I mean, listen, man, we've got plenty of other pitchers. I mean, one of my favorite pitchers is only a few hundred more. We got another pitcher that's almost 1,000 less. So I just don't see where he fits into the build today.
Yeah, I don't think I'll do it. And it's not like I'm running to stack Cleveland against him. I mean, they're a really good team. He's a really solid pitcher. I like Cleveland in this ballpark. I mean, this is a huge ballpark upgrade for Jose Ramirez, Josh Naylor, Will Brennan. I don't mind the lefties, but I mean, am I really going to one-off Jose Ramirez at 6,400 or Josh Naylor? Josh Naylor makes more sense at like 46, but it's lefty power for me if I'm going to play any of these guys.
Yeah, same thing. And I will say Josh Naylor's price is coming down, Stevie. So he was in that 5K range. And, he's come down to like 5K, 4,900. I think he was 4,700 on the last slate. So, and because of the big slate, they probably brought him down, $100 or something like that. But I agree with you on these lefties and definitely like Josh Naylor here at the end of the day.
Yankees, I will say this, like, the Little League game on Sunday, like the Yankees lineup was kind of bad against Scoble. If Matthew Boyd gets that same type of lineup, like that's the type of lineup that I'd be really interested in playing Boyd. I mean, if you're not Torres, Judge, Soto, Stanton, like those guys always have upside. It's only the second start since Tommy John for Boyd. That's who I would be targeting against him is the top half of this lineup. But again, like the lineup might intrigue me to play some Matthew Boyd, depending on what the lineup looks like. But I think like obviously Torres, Judge, Stanton, Soto, lefty, I don't care.
Yeah, absolutely. And I always like playing Soto with the Yankees. And I feel like every time I'm semi on him, Stevie hits a home run. Now, I'm not like completely on him today, but he's done me really well this season when I've, decided to play him.
He's a really good hitter.
Yeah,
he's good at hitting baseball.
So good. And
yeah.
It feels like he's better as a Yankee than he was with the Padres. That's probably true, somewhat. But the thing about him, he's just been solid on every team. So it's not like he just got good with the Yankees, Washington, Padres. Anyway, he's always my favorite bat off this team, and I don't mind some stacks of the Yankees for sure.
Cincinnati at Toronto, 8 total in this game. The Blue Jays are 142 favorite. Carson Spears, Jose Barrios. Any interest here in Carson Spears?
No.
Yeah, rough go. I mean, he's been really solid against righties, which helps him against the top half of this lineup with Springer and Vlad and Kirk. But he's really, really struggling with lefties. And I think they're going to get enough lefties in this lineup where I don't think I want to play Carson Spears today. Other side of this game, any interest here in Jose Barrios?
No, I don't want to play Barrios either. I think this is a good enough team. And Barrios, to me, doesn't have, like, consistent, pure upside. Like, he just faced Oakland and L.A., and I get it. But, like, Cincinnati isn't those teams. So, 8K I don't think is a bad price. But I still don't legitimately trust his upside here. And I have other guys that I feel better about. I do like the price per se, but the upside, man. And I know he scored like 29, but like legitimately, he's not like a 29 fantasy point guy in general.
Yeah, I mean, I don't really have a ton of interest here in him. Like he's a below average strikeout pitcher this season. He has been all year, really. And yeah, I mean, this is just not one of those spots where I'm like, oh, I have to do this. So 8K, it's a 13-game slate. I could be somewhat picky in pitching. And I mean, the Reds lineup, they were striking out a ton at the beginning of the season, but it's just not the same anymore. They're around 22%. Let's talk about the Reds bats. Obviously, always have interest in Elly De La Cruz against a below-average strikeout pitcher. Friddle, India, Stevenson, Candelario. I definitely don't mind stacking the Reds today.
Yeah, man. Toaster Friedel. He's been my guy, Stevie. I've been targeting him against righties, man, with that hits, runs, and RBI propping. Boy, has it paid off a fair amount over the past couple of weeks. So love him today against Barrios. You talked about Elly De La Cruz. I mean, just so much upside, including the stolen bases, the power. He will strike out, obviously. But and then you mentioned India, who's only 4,500. I know his prices come up some because he was in that upper 3K range. But for a guy that's leading the table, doesn't have incredibly high strikeouts, I'm always willing to roster him, as he should have some run scoring potential. So overall, really like this team against Toronto today.
Moving on to the Toronto side, I like the Toronto lefties, where Spears has struggled all season, has been the lefties. He has a much higher strikeout rate against righties. And again, ISO goes way up against lefties. WOBA goes way up. Fly balls go up. So obviously Varsho, Horwitz. I really like Will Wagner. Awesome salary relief at second base. He's 2,500 and he's been hitting like fifth and sixth for Toronto. So, and he's been hitting ever since he got called up. So Will Wagner, great value play at 2,500 to add in with maybe a couple of these other lefties that are also, I mean, Horwitz is pretty cheap. If you're playing Wagner, you got to play Horwitz at first base, but you can make a Toronto 3-man pretty cheap here. Or you could just use Wagner as a cheap one-off.
Yeah, and let me just say, man, Wagner has been, you talked about him hitting since he's been called up. He's been another guy I've been kind of targeting, Stevie, for hits, runs, and RBIs. They've been giving us 1.5 most games, and I've been taking it. In most games, he's cleared that. So really like that call. You talk about Varsho, and I know Varsho has been striking out quite a bit more this season, but the power's still there. So at 3,900, when you're getting these cheap guys, Stevie, I mean, I think it's super advantageous. I'm going to go back to Wagner again. He's 2,500. I mean, just this is really a good team to roster from a salary perspective. Outside of Vlad, who's been hitting so well. So I like the Toronto team, and that probably means, Steven, that they're going to have a major letdown against Spears tomorrow.
I love that, right? Baltimore at New York facing the Mets. 8.5 total in this game. Mets a slight 120 favorite. Dean Kramer, Jose Quintana. Any interest here in Dean Kramer?
No.
Yeah, I mean, this is a really low strikeout matchup for Kramer, and he is the guy that, I mean, on the season, he's probably right like slightly above average. But recently, he's really been struggling to miss bats. His whiff rate down to about 15%, 15.5%. His swinging strike rate, 7.5%. So really struggling to miss some bats here. I mean, he's faced some lower strikeout teams, but I mean, this is another lower strikeout team. So yeah, no Dean Kramer for me today. Jose Quintana, not against Baltimore. Quintana is a below-average strikeout pitcher at this point of his career, and I don't think this is a spot you necessarily have to overthink not playing Jose Quintana today.
Listen, man, Jose Quintana has already squeezed in all of his good stretch of games here a couple of weeks ago, Stevie. We can't expect those types of performances from here, game in and game out. And so I'm with you. I am not targeting him against Baltimore.
Any interest in the Baltimore bats in Citi Field?
So it seems to me, Stevie, that they do intend on using Jimenez. And so at 3,400 as part of this stack, I don't hate it. But all in all, even though I'm not playing any, and I mean not a bit of Quintana, I'm not thrilled about Baltimore today. So, that's where I am with them. I mean, Mountcastle for sure. This is kind of his type of matchup where righty lefty, he hits lefties really well. He's 4K. But in a general sense, I don't think this is the best spot on the slate for them.
I don't mind them as a smaller mini stack, like a 2 or 3-man. I think that's where you're going to use Baltimore, Rutschman, Santander, Mountcastle, like you mentioned. I think you could potentially even play lefty Jackson Holiday or lefty Gunnar Henderson. Like, Quintana is not a overpowering pitcher, so I don't mind lefty matchups for him. So I don't hate that. Baltimore 3-man, and kind of the same thing with the Mets. Like, I think the Mets are a team you can 3-man stack today. This is a different ballpark. You could potentially full stack either one of these teams, but in this ballpark in Citi Field on this type of slate, I think you're using the Mets as like a 3-man stack as well. Obviously, Alonso, Lindor as like your staples, and then building around those guys with like Vientos, JD, and you're gonna. I mean, the lefties will be back in the lineup today as well, so you'll get Nimmo and some of these other guys. So, yeah, 3-man for me on the Mets. Any interest in the Mets for you?
Yeah, I do have slight interest here, Stevie, especially with some of these bigger bats. You mentioned Alonso, Lindor. Like all of these guys should be fine. You know, JD Martinez is only 4,300. They should be fine, but they also I think I'm okay with stacking the Mets here because the other cheap pieces make it work. So that's kind of where I am with them. Like, you know, you look at Marte's, he's still only 4,400. JD, like you said, 43. Like Taylor's 3K. I don't know if he's going to be in the order today. He was in the previous one. Bader, he's cheap. And they just got enough cheap pieces around these bigger bats, I think, to consider it against Kramer, who's not a guy I believe in currently.
All right, moving on. We got Philadelphia at Atlanta. 8 total in this game. Philly, a 126 favorite. Zach Wheeler against Reynaldo Lopez. I mean, now Austin Riley. Like, Atlanta just can't catch a break this season. I guess if it's going to happen, just let it. Let it all happen in 1 year. Like, you know, if you're Atlanta, you're just like, all right, well, you know, let it all happen this year. So next year we can go out and try to win a championship. So I kind of have interest in Zach Wheeler today. Like, this lineup is not the same.
I have a ton.
Yeah. Yeah. Listen, I mean, tell me about it, Will. What do you got?
Look, man, I just feel like you almost don't have to overthink this. Like, you can look at this lineup and tell, like, this is not the Braves lineup from recent years. Stevie, it's going to be – so we were already striking out a ton, and now we're losing that quality. You get what I'm saying, Steve? So not only are we losing – not only have strikeouts come up, when you lose Acuna and you lose Albies and you lose Michael Harris for a while. I know Michael Harris came back, but I'm just throwing that out there. And you lose Riley and you have Sean Murphy that doesn't really you just start losing so much bat quality, Steve. And that's where we're at now. We've lost so much bat quality. You can't really fear this team. You pitch around Ozuna. You know, a couple other guys will get some timely hits here and there, but generally speaking, Zach Wheeler's been good against anybody. So I definitely expect him to be good against a watered-down Braves lineup. At 9,300, Zach Wheeler's actually my favorite pitcher on the slate.
Yeah, I mean, listen, I'm not going to argue Wheeler being a top pitcher on the slate by any means. I have a couple guys that I like a little bit more, but I think Wheeler is a phenomenal play today. Like, he's been pitching great this year and continues just to keep the strikeouts coming, very consistent, and gets, like I said, a great matchup here.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, Whit Merrifield might have to play daily now. Like,
no, seriously, that's not even a joke. Like,
I know
it's
a rough time.
Where's Dansby Swanson when you need him? I take so much Dansby Swanson right now. Oh my God.
Reynaldo Lopez has remembered recently that he is Reynaldo Lopez running out of gas. I mean, I don't know if it's just running out of gas or not, but I mean, hey, listen, the Braves should be uber thankful. He is coming off of the 15-day DL. Maybe the forearm was just sore and he needed some extended rest. He did one of those, like, oh man, what was it? He did like he did a man, why can't I like think right now? Rehab outing. He threw 70 pitches in that rehab outing. I don't trust it at all here up against Philadelphia. I'm going to need Reynaldo Lopez to go out and dominate a team because, I mean, before he got put on the IL, he was in massive struggle mode. I don't think I want to play Reynaldo Lopez until I see something here.
Which will probably be next season if we keep him, Stevie. So,
hey, you got to be very thankful from what you've gotten out of Reynaldo Lopez. Because,
listen,
yeah, I mean,
I'm fine with it. I'm perfectly fine with Reynaldo. Like, imagine him as a fifth starter if we get our rotation together. I'm perfectly fine with that because he'll have the offseason to rest. And look, man, I do think, Stevie, now, obviously, like you said, he's coming off the IL, but some of these guys, I think, have just started to experience some arm fatigue. Like, I think a lot of these younger guys are, and that's why I feel like there's been such a massive drop-off of their production, including Lopez. But I'm not playing today against Philly, bottom line. Like, this is a tough spot. Philly's best team in our division. it is what it is. We just can't play him today.
All right. Bats. Philadelphia Bats. I mean, I kind of like Philadelphia here. I'm not on the opinion of Renato Lopez is just fixed. So, I mean, Schwarber, Harper, Stott, Bohm, Turner, Marsh. Like, I have no issues stacking Philadelphia in this spot.
Yeah, same here, Stevie. Definitely like these lefties here. Harper's a guy that really hasn't let me down too often this season, so I'm hoping this all comes together. And Stevie, I feel like Harper and Trout have kind of been linked together, like for their careers. But Harper may end up with the better career out of the two because Trout's going to stay on the Angels, and for whatever reason now he gets hurt every year. So sidebar, I guess, but. Love Harper today. I think Harper's a really good one-off play too, Steve. Like, so even if you don't stack Philly, and you just want a bat, Harper would be my bat from this team for sure. You talked about Marsh, who's so cheap at 3,300. Heck of a call there. These guys crack the lineup, Steve. It's going to be such a good balance between upper price guys like Schwarber and Harper, and then being able to get to the bottom here with guys like Marsh, guys like Castellanos at 4,200. Who are still cheap. So love this team and definitely think they should be a consideration for your Bills.
Any interest in the Atlanta Bats against Wheeler?
Nope. No interest. None.
Milwaukee I don't have any interest in Atlanta either. Milwaukee at St. Louis, 8 total in this game. Cardinals are 135 favorite. We got Frankie Montas against Eric Fetty. Any interest here in Montas?
Stevie, this is interesting because Montas has been actually picking up the strikeouts. Now he's going to give up some runs here, and that's the concern. But at 7K, I have slight interest, Stevie, but ever so slight. I think if I'm running 150, I maybe have him in 8 to 10%. And that's kind of where I am on him. For 7K, if you told me right now he'd get me 16 fantasy points, I think I'd accept that. And that's my reason for having interest in Montas. I think he can get us mid-teens, which may be okay for this massive slate.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any interest in Montas. Just continues to struggle with lefties, and the Cardinals are going to throw enough lefties at him that, I mean, I actually kind of like the Cardinals quite a bit in this spot. So, hey, we can't always agree. I definitely don't like Montas today. Fetty on the other side of this game. I mean, listen, he's had 1 or 2 good starts recently, but I, again, don't think there's a place to play Eric Fetty against Milwaukee. Even with the kind of watered down lineup because of some injuries, I don't think this is the spot to play Fetty.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think so either. Agree 100%.
Milwaukee Bats. Any interest here in the Brewers?
I mean, Stevie, should we not have interest in the Brewers? Are you not entertained? They've just been smoking everybody. It doesn't matter who they faced. I think these bats are still cheap enough for you to just kind of put together some quality lineups. Churio, man, he's just been fantastic down the stretch here, Stevie. So, I'm fine with him. Mitchell's still batting up top. Like, if you decide to stack this team, Mitchell's going to help you. You got Adames and Contreras, who, at one time seemed to just be switching which days they were going to homer. But those are quality bats. I think Milwaukee, in a general sense, is just a 3-man, but no more than 4.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely don't mind Milwaukee today. I agree with you, though. I think it's more of a 3-man stack than a full stack. One of my favorite low-owned stacks today is going to be the Cardinals. I don't think the Cardinals are going to get a ton of love today, and I like them way too much. Derek's probably in chat going, yeah, let's go. I mean, first of all, they're really cheap. Like, you have no issues playing like a Zach Wheeler, Cole Reagan's combo today because of just how cheap this stack is. So I think this is a great spot for St. Louis. Obviously, I build around the lefties here. My boy Nootbaar, Burleson,
Donovan,
and Gorman. Gorman's another guy that I really like. So
yeah,
I like the Cardinals today. And anyone that listens to the podcast knows that like it's really hard for me to get excited about playing the Cardinals this season, but I think this is a really good spot for them to be different.
Listen, I almost hate my boy Tommy Edman is with the Dodgers because Edman was a guy that I felt like was like a glue guy for this lineup. And clearly they shipped him out of town in this trade. But I'm with you, man. I like the Cardinals here. They look good. And like you said, they're cheap. Tommy Pham's back in their lives also at 3,700. This lineup, man, it's really fantastic in terms of pricing, Stevie, pricing. And so you mentioned, kind of going into what today's DFS would be a double barrel. Back in the day, Stevie, our double barrel was like 12 and 11K, 13 and 12K. And in today's DFS, 9K and 9K is mostly kind of a double barrel setup for DFS. I'm saying all that to say you talked about putting together, something like if you did something like a Reagans or a Wheeler, like you can absolutely play this team and still be fine. So I love St. Louis today. I'm with you
100%. Wynn's been hitting good. Nolan Arenado's been hitting good. Again,
even Goldschmidt hit a home run recently.
Yeah, I think any of the lefties against Montas really struggles with lefties here. So I think St. Louis is a really good potential like secondary stack. I think you could full stack them today. I have no issues full stacking St. Louis. They're really cheap. Detroit at Chicago Cubs. No total in this game because we really don't know who's going to start yet for Detroit. Everything that I've kind of read says it's going to be Brian Sammons. And then on the other side, we got Javier Assad. I haven't checked the weather. I'll check that really quick. If it is Sammons, any interest here?
He's cheap, Stevie. PC, looks like it's, on the way gradually back up here. On the way up. Maybe he gets to 85 pitches here. He's 6K. If you want to play him, that's fine. I'm not thrilled about it, but he's 6K. Like, cheap pitchers have been working out this season. And sometimes you just have to take a shot. So maybe you take a small shot on him the way I felt. It's basically the same way I feel about Montas. Large field only, 8 to 10%.
Yeah, wind blowing in at Wrigley, it looks like night before here. 12 to 15 miles an hour blowing in. I don't mind it. I kind of have some interest in the other side here. Javier Assad is someone I picked on all season. I do not think he is a fantastic pitcher by any means, but I kind of have slight interest in him in this spot because Detroit sinks and they're not great. Assad, again, like he has really been struggling to miss bats. So I don't know if I necessarily have to do it today. Like, I don't think I have to do it today. I'm going to retract everything I said, and I just don't have to do it today.
Yeah, I was about to say, Stevie, man, we're going to disagree again, but you have retracted. I agree. I don't think today is a day for Assad.
Nah, listen, I'm not going to do this now. I'm not even going to get into playing this guy. I haven't played him all year. He's had some good matchups. It's worked out for me. I'm not going to do it here. Detroit's lineup is just really bad. The lineup they're rolling out most days right now has a massive strikeout rate. They have some young guys that they've called up. I love playing pitchers against them, but Javier Assad just doesn't really have a ceiling. So, yeah, not going to do it. Detroit bats, they're really cheap. As a stack, they're really cheap. Like, you can easily play like Riley Green, with Riley Green being back, because they're just so cheap. I don't think I full stack them, but I, again, think you could potentially use some of this value here. My boy Kerry Carpenter is 4,100. Like him a lot. If you want to punt shortstop, Trey Sweeney got called up from Detroit over the weekend, so he'll be potentially in the lineup, and he's a minimum salary shortstop. So, like, if you're not paying up for like one of the big guys, you could just say, "Hey, I'm just going to full punt it." I don't think that's a great decision long term at shortstop because of how strong the position is nowadays. Chase Jung is 2,200 at third base. You can use him as a punt. They called him up, so a lot of cheap potential here for Detroit if you want to leave some cheap bats in your profile or in your lineup HQ and make sure you're not playing more than like 10, 15, 20% of them and just getting a little bit of value here from Detroit.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that 100%, Stevie. It's because of the side effect, strikeouts aren't necessarily anything electric. And while Detroit hasn't been great, you start putting low strikeout pitchers out there, Steven, suddenly everybody can hit a baseball. So I like this team because of the pricing. They're an alternate stack for me, so not a primary. I think I'm mostly three men's on this one, Stevie, but I still like some of these individual pieces to make those small three-man stacks to go on the opposite side of your five-man.
Yeah, I mean, I just think they're a really solid, cheap option. They're Detroit. They're the Detroit Tigers, so like you're not getting excited about it here by any means. If it is Salmons, I mean, Suzuki has been great against left-handed pitching this season. Swanson, Patrick Wisdom has a ton of power. Like he's like that home run strikeout hitter in this lineup. I don't think I'd stack them, but I don't mind chasing some home run upside. It's just, again, like you're worried about the wind blowing in at Wrigley because that just it kills a ball that like a potential home run that's barely going over is a fly out with the wind in Wrigley.
Yeah, for sure. Love the call on Swanson. I don't think Swanson will be all the way at the top, but I'm still fine with it. We've seen Ian Happ. I wonder if he's going to lead off today because he's a switch hitter, Steve. Because we've seen him lead off. He would be a guy that I would be interested in with in this particular spot. So I'm not thrilled about this game like all the way overall. I feel like the Cubs are another mini stack situation for me. But I totally get, playing these guys if you decide to go full stack against an unproven pitcher.
All right, moving on. We got Pittsburgh at Texas, 8 total in this game. Texas a 142 favorite. Mitch Keller, Cody Bradford, our boy Corey Seager. Pretty sure I made him the morning grind photo yesterday on the RotoGrinders website too. And listen, the home run streak continues. Absolutely love Seager. Today he gets Mitch Keller. Mitch Keller has been a below average strikeout pitcher this season. He's really struggled with lefties. Like, I don't think I want to play Mitch Keller against Texas today.
Oh no. We're not doing that.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about Keller him early. Like early this season, we were like, yeah, concerned about Keller. And then recently, very concerned about Keller again. I don't know if the arm's holding up this season. That's all I'm going to say. I never want to see any of these guys get hurt, but I just don't know if the arm's holding up for Keller this year. Bradford on the other side, I mean, he's somewhat cheap. I don't know what real upside he has. Like, it seems like he has some strikeout stuff every once in a while. Are we taking any shots on Bradford here against Pittsburgh?
Oh man, I think you could, Stevie. I mean, he went over 100 pitches against Minnesota, 92 against the Yankees. Seems like they're going to let him go. If they're going to let him go against Pittsburgh, I'm okay with it.
He was stellar earlier this year. I don't know how much like people had like followed him earlier this year, but he was outstanding to start the season. So I like the Pittsburgh lineup could be really bad today. It could be really, really bad. And if that happens, I mean, I have no issues taking some shots on Cody Bradford. He showed us earlier this year that like he's capable of putting up like 25 plus, which we're kind of hunting for over 8K today. So
yeah,
I have some interest in Bradford today.
Yep, same here.
Any interest in the Pittsburgh bats?
No.
Yeah, I will say, like, if Joey Bart catches, he has been excellent against left-handed pitching this season. He has a 326 ISO and a 530 WOBA with a 27% K rate. So Joey Bart would be that home run.
He's been catching.
Yeah.
Because I've been playing him a little bit. So, yeah.
He'd be that like home run play that I'd be chasing against a lefty here. So that'd be the guy that I'd like the most here from Pittsburgh if I was going to play any of these guys. A lot of interest in the other side of this game. Mitch Keller has been struggling. He really his strikeouts have dipped way down. I think I'm going right back to the well on Corey Seager in Texas here.
Yep. Love that call, Stevie. Texas is a team right behind Minnesota that I've just, especially as their prices have come down, Stevie, that I've continued to incorporate a lot more. And I think that's really part of the allure of this Texas team. I want to start at catcher here with Jonah Heim if he plays. And I think he will catch today. They've been batting Kelly some too, but I think Heim will catch today. He's 3,300. You go to Nate Lowe, who's been their everyday first baseman, Stevie. He's 3,700. Simeon's down to 4,800. Josh Smith at 43, Jung at 41. Like, this is just a reasonably affordable team. Adolis Garcia at 4,200. Corey Seager is basically our most expensive batter. We can fit in everybody else that we want. So I really, really, really like Texas today.
Yeah, I like the Rangers quite a bit here. All right, we got Boston at Houston. I'm trying to decide right now. Hard Rock is offering me like a 3x cash out on the tied game for the 3-pick parlay. And I was like, do I take it? But then I was like, man, the Red Sox bullpen has not been great. I think I'm just going to let it ride. Let's try to hit that plus 427 and, end the night. I'm already ahead enough on the night. So I'm like, I'll probably let it ride. Anyway, we got Blanco and Pivetta facing off against each other. 8 total. Houston, a 132 favorite. Nick Pivetta, continues the strikeouts, continues the home runs. I think the strikeout upside. Yeah, I think the upside I would typically say is limited, but I just watched Tanner Houck strike out 8. I don't think I can do it with
so painful.
I don't think I could do it with Pivetta. But, man, it wouldn't shock me if he has a good strikeout game here.
Yeah, look, you can't win them all, Stevie. And that's something I think, in terms of the listeners, man, we're not gonna win them all. And so that's just how it goes. If Pivetta at 7,800. Do I think he can pick up some strikeouts, Stevie? Yes, no doubt. But this team is still a low strikeout team enough overall to temper our expectations some. And I think Pivetta would give up runs just as equally to Houck. Over the past 5 games, 3, 3, 3, 8. None before that. But it doesn't matter. We're starting to see that the runs are coming, Stevie. Runs are piling up on him. And, what better team to avoid him against the low strikeout Houston team?
Yeah, I don't want to play Pivetta today. And then on the other side, Blanco, last time out, played him a lot. It was against Tampa. Pitching slate was rough. Was pitching really well.
Cut him down. Yeah.
Yeah. They just said, hey, we're going to end the night for you. I think it was a finger or something, right? He got hit by a comebacker or something, and then he left the game. He's 8,800, and as much as I like, potentially taking shots of lefties against the Red Sox, there's no chance I'm playing Blanco at 8,800 against the Red Sox.
Stevie, can I just say that this is Wacky Tuesday? I feel like all of the pitchers that should be doing terribly or not as good are destroying the slate. The chat is keeping us updated on strikeouts. Boyle with 6 Ks through 4. And that's not abnormal because he's facing Tampa Bay, I think. Stone with 7 Ks through 3. Stone's not that guy, but he's facing Seattle. It's all of these guys, you know what I mean?
It pained me. It literally pained me to play Gavin Stone today. I wish they'd just take him out of the game right now.
All of that for me to say I'm not playing Blanco, by the way.
No, you're good. I just listen. Anyone that hung out in chat last night or listened to the podcast yesterday, they know that I was agonizing, like talking about playing Gavin Stone because I don't play Gavin Stone. So yeah, I mean, whew, yeah, it's tough scene. There a lot of the good pitching on Monday night slate was back end. I know I played quite a bit of Harrison too. But yeah, I mean, I'm not playing Blanco. All right, well, let's talk bats. I think we're going to see some runs in this game overall. I mean, I have some interest in Duran. Devers, Cassis is back, which is definitely good against Blanco. He struggles a lot more against lefties, and I mean, there is a chance that he gets 7 lefties, if not more, for the Red Sox today. So they're another team that I'm going to play some today.
Yeah, for sure. You look at Devers, 5,900, most expensive bat. Duran today, who was facing off with Kikuchi, Stevie, where, he has struggled against left-handed pitching, stepped up to the plate. First inning home run for Duran. I mean, this is just a potent team. And I think against a guy like Pivetta, he's going to pick up the strikeout, Stevie. He also may give up 4 to 5 runs. And that's why I think you stack Boston here. You take the right guys or what you hope are the right guys. And I'm with you on Casas at 47. My favorite bat from Boston has consistently been Yoshida, just because I'm saying in terms of outside of the massive power guys, Stevie. Let me clarify. Outside of the massive power guys, Yoshida's been my guy because he's a hitting machine. And if guys are on base, man, he's trying to drive them home. So really love him at 4,300 also.
Yeah, he's up right now, and I need Josh Hader to get him out. Hater. My bad. Houston bats. I mean, obviously love Jordan Alvarez. When we're talking home runs and we're talking Nick Pivetta, like you obviously have to put Jordan Alvarez way up on your list today. Like he has to have one of the best strikeout home run odds on the slate. Like, I mean, lowest odds, but one of the best like home run odds on the slate. Like, if I had to pick one home run on this entire slate, I'd probably pick Jordan Alvarez. Nick Pivetta gives up home runs so much, and this guy just continues to hit them. I mean, love Alvarez.
He went through a rough stretch earlier this season also, Alvarez. And all of a sudden, it doesn't matter.
No, I mean, my only issue is, like, who else do we play for Houston? Like, you want to target home runs against Pivetta. I don't think you stack Houston today, but I definitely want to target home runs against them.
Yeah, love that call. I'm still okay with like Yanier Diaz, guys like that. I wish Bregman was back. I mean, I know that Pivetta is going to be really good, but man, if Bregman was back, that would just really bolster this lineup. So I'm perfectly fine with Alvarez at 6K as like a one-off. And then, Stevie, we've got so many other offenses in what I feel like are better spots. Even some of the earlier ones, I'm fine with the Alvarez one-off and let everybody else sit on the shelf.
All right, we got Angels and Royals, 8 total. Kansas City, a 196 favorite. Tyler Anderson going up against Cole Reagans. Any interest in Tyler Anderson?
No. I'm not playing $8,200 Kyle Anderson against the Royals. I'm not doing it.
He's been really impressive recently. His strikeout stuff has been phenomenal. His whiff rate has gone through the roof. His swinging strike rate's up like almost 3%. Not against Kansas City. They're a low strikeout team, especially against left-handed pitching. They can get very right-handed heavy against Anderson. So, again, I talked about Anderson a lot last time out and, like, his pitch mix that he's using and how it's, kind of working against these right-handed hitters with the cutter and stuff. But I don't think today is the day I want to play, like you said, 8,200 for him. Listen, he's taken advantage of good matchups. I just don't know if this is a great matchup for him. Love the other side of this game. Cole Reagans, 9,500. Sign me up. Angels, one of the worst teams in baseball. I know they're a little bit better against left-handed pitching. I don't care. And everybody can tweet Tim for not wanting to play Seth Lugo yesterday. I told him, I tried to tell him, I tried, Will. I said, listen, nobody wanted to pay the price for him, but the Angels stink, man. Like, listen, they're Woo. Any interest here in Cole Reagans?
Yeah, for sure. I have a ton of interest in Cole Reagans. And while, Stevie, we may not see, 10 strikeouts every game, I mean, he's consistent in that 5 to 8 range. So this is these are the kind of pitchers that I want to get into my lineups. And he has some run prevention upside as well today, Stevie. Could go 7 innings. If he goes 7 innings, I'm going to anticipate 7 strikeouts at a minimum. So love Reagans today. I don't like him more than Wheeler. I think there's another guy that you probably like more than Wheeler. I like Wheeler because I feel like he's just so consistent, and the price gap isn't as great. But I love Reagans.
For a slate this big, I have had no issues narrowing down my pitcher pool that I like today. I might add a couple guys depending on what lineups look like that we talked about. I mean, Reagan's one of my favorite pitchers on the slate. Absolutely love him here. Angels, I mean, listen, Joe Adell, he just crushes left-handed pitching. So if you're not playing Reagan's today, Joe Adell's 3,400. And if you take a shot on him, go for it. I mean, he's 3,400 and he has a 350 ISO against left-handed pitching this season. You take the upside. You take a shot here on a guy like Adell, but the rest of the team, I'll probably pass. Zach Neto has been good against lefties this year, but I'm not paying $4,200 for Neto when I have these other shortstops. Like Seager's $1,100 more. Sign me up for Seager.
Well, I'm fading the Angels, Stevie. I'm just not playing them.
I've never been so happy for the Red Sox to lose a game, but we just hit our 3-pick parlay. So everybody can go troll that person in YouTube that says I lost my touch. We've started the week at plus 427. So there you go. Good job, Diaz. That's my dude. What are your thoughts here on the Kansas City side?
Yeah, I like Kansas City big time. Yet again, Bobby Witt will be on tap. If you want to play Sal Pal, you can. But my boy, if Garcia is going to lead off, Stevie, at 4,500, he's going to be another guy that I want to play. Paul DeJong has been there, flashing some power here and there. If you need a cheap piece at 3,200, he's good also. I know Vinny P will be lefty, but if I end up stacking this team, I'm not going to fade Vinny P because of that situation. So, like Kansas City here, I think they can get the job done against Anderson.
Yeah, I mean, Anderson's been really good recently. So, I'm not sitting here saying Kansas City is the best stack on the slate, but they've just been so good and they have a lot of upside. Witt, Perez, two of my favorites. Garcia has been really good against lefties this year, and he should hit leadoff here for Kansas City today. So he's another guy that I don't mind. And then Freddie Fermin has been really good against lefties this year too, as a cheaper catcher. So I don't necessarily hate him. Tampa Bay at Oakland, 8 total. Tampa 124 favorite. Shane Baz against Joey Estes. Any interest here in Shane Baz?
Oh boy, I mean, Baz has been reasonable, Stevie. In this spot, I think I'm okay with it. Especially if he can stay in the 90s in terms of pitch count. I think I'm fine with it. So, it's Oakland. I know Oakland has some power from time to time. They'll rattle off some runs, but it's still not the best ballpark. And so Baz at 7,600, I'm okay with it.
Yeah. So for me on Baz, his upside has been kind of limited, and he struggles a lot more with left-handed hitters. So I'm just worried that he struggles against this lineup in particular, and he doesn't have the upside to come out and strike out 10 guys to make up for 1 or 2 earned runs. 6,500, I think I'd have interest in Baz today. 7,600, I think is a really tough ask for a guy that doesn't have dominating strikeout stuff. So I'll probably pass. Man, Joey Estes is tempting. It really is. I talked about Boyle on the podcast yesterday. My problem is Joey Estes just kind of stinks. He just has not been good. 18% Ks, 211 ISO, 330 WOBA. A lot of hard contact, very little whiffs. As much as I like Boyle on the podcast yesterday, I don't think I can pull the trigger on Joey Estes today.
Yeah, I totally get it, man. Estes is, it's rough. And look, Stevie, we could very well play Estes, and he can go out there and get 18 fantasy points, and we say, oh, that's fantastic. But I'm with you. Even against Tampa Bay, I don't think I'm going to do it. And as I sit here, if he comes out with a 4.5K prop, I may, in fact, look into it.
Yeah, I mean, the strikeout prop is definitely, I bet Boyle's, I think it was 5.5 today. I got it early this morning before it started moving a lot, but Estes is someone I don't mind taking shots on. Strikeout prop wise.
Yeah.
Strikeout any prop, pitcher at this point, any pitcher that faces Tampa that has a decent strikeout prop, I mean, it's something you could look into for sure. Any interest in the Tampa bats here?
Nope. That's the thing. I really don't want to play either of these teams.
Yeah, I mean, I like Brandon Lau. That's about it. Maybe Josh Lowe. But yeah, I mean, Brandon Lau is someone I always like taking shots on. His price is just kind of caught up to the production. So like I'm more worried about the price for Brandon Lau than anything else. Oakland, I think they're another team you can mini stack today. You know, we talked a lot about like 3-man stacks today, and I mean Butler, Roker, Blade, Bangaliers, like maybe even a little Seth Brown. Baz is an average strikeout pitcher, and I don't mind taking any of these lefties against him.
Yeah, I mean, after Blade had that just nuke game against the Mets, now he's up to 4,100. It's still fine, but I'm not thrilled about Oakland today.
Yep. I mean, I hear you. I get it. I get why ballpark and everything. The pricing on Oakland has gone up too. I like playing this team. They're never owned because they're Oakland. Minnesota at San Diego, 7.5 pick'em game. Bailey Ober, Martin Perez. I think it was you and me last week where we were like, do we really play Perez? And just keep playing this guy, I guess. We'll start with Bailey Ober. It's a tough matchup, right? San Diego, pretty low strikeout team. We have some pitching options on this slate. Do you dare take some shots here on Bailey Ober?
Man, I don't think I'm going to do it against San Diego. Like, I like Ober. Ober's been fine in general, but even at 8,400, I think the strikeouts are just too low for what he's facing. Like in terms of the K rate of the team he's facing, his strikeouts have been fine, but in terms of the K rate of San Diego, I don't think I can do it here.
Yeah, you look at this lineup, and there's only one hitter with a strikeout rate over 20%. It's just such a tough lineup to face because they don't strike out and they work counts and they don't. It's such a tough team. So Ober has been pitching great. I wouldn't sit here and tell you not to play him. I just don't know if he has the upside you're looking for on a 13-game slate today. Martin Perez on the other side of this game. Minnesota, tough team as well. Much better against right-handed pitching, but as much as I have enjoyed playing Martin Perez here recently, I don't think I can do it today.
Yeah, Mr. Perez has, Steve, I think he's come to the end of the road.
We'll have to see who he faces next start.
Yeah, it was a good run against Colorado and Miami and Pittsburgh, brother. But you get to face my DFS team of the year, which is the Minnesota Twins. I don't think he gets out of this one clean. If he gets out of this one clean, Stevie, he's not going to be 6,800 anymore. He's going to be 7,800, 8K. So I don't plan on playing Martin Perez today.
I don't think many people do, my friend. I don't think many people do. Minnesota bats, obviously Royce Lewis, Carlos Santana have been fantastic against left-handed pitching this season. Willie Castro probably hits leadoff here. He's been good against lefties. What are your thoughts here on Minnesota?
Man, I know that sounds crazy, but when they've been leading off Margot, who actually might lead off, they've been batting Castro like the 6-hole. It's been so weird. Instead of leaving him up top, I don't know why they would do that, but that's what they've been doing. So I think there's enough cheap pieces here. Last week, Stevie, one of my things was my boy Jefferson. Looks like he's heating back up. Give me all the Jeffers in this spot. And I know that Perez doesn't necessarily give up a ton of home runs, but no problem. But Jefferson has so much power, man, versus lefty. So at 4,300, I am in. You talked about Santana. Love that call. He's probably more of a with my stat play, but at 3,800 with him being that cheap, still perfectly fine to include him in those lineups.
I think either catcher that draws the start today, Vasquez or Jeffers, they're both fly ball guys. And you got a guy like Martin Perez who does a really solid job of keeping the ball on the ground. I think you want to target the fly ball guys. Listen, I don't know if I necessarily want to play Bailey Ober today, but I know I don't want to play the Padres against him. He's a really sound pitcher. They're a really good lineup, but I don't want to pay the pricing for San Diego in this tough spot.
Yeah, same here. And it's kind of a catch-22, Stevie, because Ober is going to have some upside limited, I think, because of the lack of strikeouts. And then once again, as you talk about, the Padres should have some lack of upside here because of the quality of the pitching that they're going to see. So I'm with you. I'm not playing any San Diego bats either.
Moving on. We got Chicago White Sox, San Francisco Giants, 7.5 total. San Francisco minus 250. Minus 250. Davis Martin, Robbie Ray. Any interest here in Davis Martin?
No.
Really? All right.
Nope.
I have some interest in Davis Martin today. He's a really solid strikeout pitcher. He's been semi reverse splitsy, even in some of the minor league stuff that I was looking at for Martin. And he's actually starting to find a little bit of a groove. And this team doesn't walk a ton. So the biggest thing for him has been walks. I kind of like him a little bit here. He's 6,500. He's cheap. We talked about some other cheap pitchers on the slate. I don't know where I'd rank them. I think you kind of want to see what lineups look like as far as ranking these guys, but I think Davis Martin's okay. I would call
need a little bit of more prove it. I need to prove it a little bit more to me, man.
Yeah, but his pitches have increased each time out, and the only reason he got pulled in the Yankees game is because he was kind of struggling there in the 6th inning. So I think they would have let him go 90 pitches here, 90 to 95 pitches against the Giants. This lineup isn't scary, and they got a lot of strikeouts at the top half of this lineup right now. So I really don't hate it. I really don't hate it. Obviously, Robbie Ray, other side, chalkiest pitcher on the slate. Chalky Robbie Ray always ends terrible, but can you really argue it? He struggled last time out against Atlanta. Okay. His strikeout rate has been fantastic this season. This lineup stinks. This is a don't overthink it spot for me. Robbie Ray is too cheap for the matchup today.
Yeah, Robbie Ray tried to do his best Charlie Morton impression and have a good game and then a bad game, and a good game and then a bad game. I'm just exaggerating, folks, but I did want to make that funny for our listeners. I'm with you on Robbie Ray. He's going to be chalky. He still deserves to get played. And I know that we have this unspoken rule around the industry because of our good friend Dave Potts that says when Robbie Ray is chalky, friends don't let friends play Robbie Ray. But at 8,600 against the White Sox, I'm rolling the dice here.
Yeah, I'm with you. I think this is an excellent spot for Robbie Ray. And do you have any interest in the White Sox bats?
Negative.
Yeah, I don't either. If I was going to play anybody, probably Nick Senzel, just as a punt play. He's 2,800. You can play him at third base or outfield. He'd be the guy. He has power against left-handed pitching. One of the reasons that I have some slight interest today in Davis Martin is I really don't have any interest in the Giants bats today.
Yeah, I don't either. I mean, I was kind of considering, Conforto at certain spots in the season. And he's been fine. So, I mean, if you want to play Conforto, fine, no problem. He's just 4K. But I'm not trying to run and, masterfully stack this team. A one-off, maybe no more than two, if any Giants crack the lineup for me.
All right, we finish out, and I should say Grant McCray is 2,600. We talked about him on the podcast a little bit yesterday. You could take some shots on him. He's cheap. San Francisco at LA taking on the Dodgers. 8.5 total. Dodgers a 140 favorite. Bryce Miller, Walker Buehler. Any interest here in Miller?
No, not against the Dodgers, man. I can't do it.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't have any interest. Not against the Dodgers, like you said. He has been pitching phenomenal. He's had some really good stretch of matchups, though. Like he had.
I loaded up on him in his last matchup against Detroit.
Yeah,
fantastic.
His last 5 starts, he's faced the Angels, the White Sox, and Detroit in 3 of those 5 starts. So that's a really good stretch if you're a pitcher in baseball right now. So I'm with you. No interest. Walker Buehler, last time out, absolutely got hammered by Milwaukee. He has not been pitching well. It is Seattle. Do we roll the dice here on Buehler at 7,500, or is it finally a day we take a pitcher off?
I'm not, because it's not like the injury is the reason he was getting shellacked. So some of this, he was getting hit hard prior to going on the IL, Stevie. And he's come back and he's still getting hammered. So at 7,500, listen, if he goes out there and throws a gem today, good for him. I clap my hands. I say, hey, man, you beat me today. But I'm not doing it, even against Seattle. While they strike out, there's still some power in this lineup. And it's not like Buehler's running up here with a 30% K rate. So I think Seattle could hit him around just a touch.
Any interest in the Seattle bats?
So, in terms of overall bats, I don't have to sell you on Cal Raleigh. He's 4,500. He's a guy. Luke Raley, too, is another one that while he hasn't just been smashing, Stevie, he does have the power to send this thing out of the park. Polanco, man, his K rate's up there this season, but if I'm getting at any of those guys for 4K, I'd love to get him in there as well. And of course, they have Robles leading off, who's got a little bit of pop. A little bit of running ability. A little bit of running ability down the base path. Just get him on, and then we'll see what happens.
Dodgers side, Miller, again, he's had a good stretch. He's hittable. It sounds like Max Muncy will be back for this game. He was back Monday. It sounds like he'll play again. I don't see why he wouldn't play again. I just don't think I want to stack the Dodgers, but I wouldn't fault you. If you're playing 150, you're stacking a little bit of the Dodgers today. Miller just has excellent control. He does give up more fly balls to lefties, so that comes into play for sure. Especially on a guy like Gavin Lux, who hits the ball on the ground a ton. So getting a fly ball pitcher here. So I am on the fence on what to do with the Dodgers today. They're not my favorite stack, but they're not the worst stack today.
Yeah, I think Dodgers 3 and 4 man is probably the way to go, because Steve, you can get one of the expensive guys, which would be, Ohtani, Betts, Freeman, Will Smith, or Teoscar Hernandez, who's also 5,100. But then you've got these other guys like Hayward, and you talked about Lux and Kiermaier, who's also cracked the lineup a few times. You just got this, barrage of cheap guys that you can filter in and out of some of the big stacks for them, and that's the way I would be playing them today. I think 3 to 4 man, but that's it.
That's it, right? All the way through. Big slate.
That's all, folks.
Again, I'll post the Morning Grind contest link here in chat, and then I will do my best to remember. I always forget to post it in the comments of the YouTube page as well. But I just posted it in chat over there on YouTube. And again, I'll try to remember But let's get into our morning grind game here for Tuesday. Under 8K to get 6 or more strikeouts. Who do you got?
This is kind of a tough one today, Stevie. I'm going to go with Montas because he's my guy today. But I mean, I don't like much. There's only a couple guys I think that you could roll with. I think I know who you're rolling with. But give me Montas.
Yeah, I mean, 6 strikeouts in this range. Listen, I will say, like, very interested in the Yankees lineup, like I talked about. That's one that's really interesting to me. So I'm going to go with my boy, though, Davis Martin, to hit his first ever 6 strikeout game. So, yeah, so hopefully that happens. Will says, Houston came in, Stevie played your parlay. Hey, we started the week off with a win. There we go. One more and we have a winning week. So that's what happens when you have those plus 427s on a Monday. Over 8K to score under 15. Who's your bust today?
I think we have a fair amount of options. I'm going to stay at home here. Give me Ronaldo Lopez.
Yeah, just can't do it, man. I'm with you 100%. He is just that guy today where you're just like, I can't do it. I'm going to go right above him price point wise and go Blanco. Really tough matchup against Boston today. Over 4,000 to hit a home run. Who's going yard today?
We've got a ton of options here, Stevie. I'm going to go. It's over. You just hit over 5K, right? I'm making sure I'm right here.
Over 4K.
Over 4K. Okay.
Yep.
So what I'm going to do then, Stevie, is I'm going to give you something that's what I would consider to be very sneaky, and that is my guy that I've tabbed with the nickname of Toaster Friedel. TJ Friedel, ladies and gentlemen, from the Cincinnati Reds. I really like him today against Barrios.
Jordan Alvarez, not close. If I had to pick one person on this slate to hit a home run, Jordan Alvarez, top of the list for me. Nick Pivetta and his home run issues, like this is an incredible spot today for Jordan Alvarez. Under 4K to get 2 hits. Who's a cheap bat that you like today?
Like a ton of cheap bats here, Stevie. And so I'm going to go to a game that we just talked about, that we just talked about not too long ago. Give me Carlos Santana against Martin Perez. All
right. I am going to go to the Cardinals. Give me Donovan to get 2 hits today. I really like Will Wagner today too, but
yeah,
as a cheap value play, but I really like the Cardinals today. So give me St. Louis, give me Donovan to get 2 hits today. Stack to score 6 or more runs. Who's scoring some runs today?
Plenty of options, but I'm going to go with, some guys that I think are going to crush, Stevie. We don't have cores on this slate, and I just think they're facing the matchup of a lifetime here. Maybe not of a lifetime, but I keep taking this team. It's going to pay off, Stevie. Give me the Texas Rangers.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely love that call. Texas, I think, is a great team to play today. Listen, I am going to go Cardinals against your boy. I know you have some interest in Montas today, but I'm going to go against you, and I really, really like St. Louis. I think that they're going to get the job done in this one. So give me St. Louis to score 6 or more runs. Any player props or pick 'em plays that you like today?
Oh, man. I was hoping they gave us Zach Wheeler right now, but they have not given us Wheeler. So I was trying to be on the hunt, Stevie, for another prop that I thought I might like, and I just don't really have one at the moment. But in terms of the money line here, Stevie, we're getting the Phillies at minus 125. I think that's way too low, or really good odds for a team that I think is going to win this game outright today. Like this, I mean, what their best pitcher against probably our worst pitcher at this point, sign me up.
Yeah, so they're in my 3-pick parlay that I'll give out in just a second, but I do actually have a player prop that's up right now that I like, and it's going back to the St. Louis game. I really like, where'd it go? I was just looking at it. Burleson over 1.5 total bases. It's up on DraftKings at plus 105, and it's up on Bet365 at plus 110. Burleson is someone that I have a ton of interest in DFS today, and I think that this is a fantastic spot for him just in general, and he should draw a really good lineup spot here against the righty. So give me Burleson over 1.5 total bases, and then let's do the 3-pick parlay. So again, started the week off solid on Monday, and hopefully we can keep it rolling. That's what we want to do. Dude, I can't wait for a 5-for-5 week. I'm going to have one eventually, and I can't wait for a 5-for-5 week on these 3-pick parlays. But today it is a plus 515 parlay. So we hit this one, we're ahead for the week. I'm going over 8.5 total runs in the Cardinals-Brewers game. I think that game's going to have some runs scored. It's Montas versus Fetty. It's a divisional game. I think that game is going to have some runs, so I like that one. I'm going to your Phillies bet that you liked as well. Philadelphia to win outright over Atlanta, minus 125 on the Hard Rock app. And then I am finishing it out with the team that you and I are both high on today. Give me the Texas Rangers minus 150 over the Pittsburgh Pirates. That is my 3-pick parlay for Tuesday. And again, hopefully, listen, I bet these. Again, they're for entertainment purposes, and you could do whatever you please, and no one is going to say otherwise. But I bet every single one of these that I give out, and we're way ahead right now on these 3-pick parlays. So hopefully we can keep it rolling. My friend, always a pleasure. 12 or 13 games in the books. We'll see you again on Friday. We'll see everyone again tomorrow talking baseball. Good luck, everyone. We'll see you then.